Hey guys, Sean Zim, the connection machine, also the host for the Network Marketing Insider, where I bring on guests that are going to provide value. They're going to share, they're going to teach, they're going to educate. And I want you to take some notes if you could, mental notes if you don't want to write things down. But if you're watching the YouTube from the website, please drop a like, comment, share. You know the deal, guys. Sharing is powerful because we can help other people in each of our networks. If you're listening to us on Amazon, Apple, Spotify, any of the audio pieces, the verticals, give us a review at the end. And don't forget to go to the description at the bottom and have a connection call with my guests. Follow them on all the socials and get involved with what they're doing. So without further ado, I want to bring in a great friend of mine I just met recently, Stephen Mooney. What's up, man?
Hey, Sean. Thanks very much for having me on. Thanks for that. Very polished intro, I have to say. You're obviously a dab hand at this sort of thing.
You know, it's funny, and I'm glad you said that. And I appreciate you. I've been doing video since 2018, so
Wow.
it's takes people who are like, "Oh, I can't do what you do." I'm like, I've had that hiccups. I had the issues in the beginning, and it's just repetition with video improves.
Yep.
Repetition of what you're doing, people improve. It's just part of the whole process. So I thanks for that. And yeah, I definitely have been doing this many times, many times over. And some people pick on it. They're like, "Oh, you missed something you said last time." But hey, that's good. They're being very, selective, and they're really analyzing, which is can't fault anyone on there. But
Yeah.
without further ado, I always ask my guests, "Who are you, and why did you, in this case, why did you get started building a business inside of school?"
Yeah. Thanks very much. I'm Stephen Mooney. I'm the founder of a company called the Hardway Fitness. And we're primarily an online fitness company that is based around community. So a slightly different approach. One of our missions is basically to take what has become probably more seen in a negative light aspects, things like social media, and pivot them into something good. So we're taking a lot of the experience that we have with personal training and kind of that personal aspect more important than the training, and then putting it into these communities and trying to get through to people and create like almost like a sports team or military unit psychology online, get everyone training together and held each other accountable. And really the genesis comes a lot from COVID from one part. Obviously we were all, we all went through that. We all know what that was about. So I won't go into detail, but some of it sparks from that. But yeah, that's me, founder of Hardway Fitness. I'm also a father of two former Army reservists. I did some Muay Thai fighting, and I have a background of about 15, 20 years in financial services, primarily working as a chief of staff. So a lot of kind of C-suite stuff and things like that. So pretty broad background, like a lot of my community members as well. I kind of, I'm probably one of those T-shaped people, basically kind of a skinny and then went broad at one point. So yeah, great. And happy to be on Skool where I met people like yourself. So I'll stop, and anything you want to dive into, Sean. I don't want to just monologue,
Oh
the
no,
Irish,
hey,
we can talk all
this
day.
this is all about having fun and sharing that, one, people can make time for what we're doing. And
Yeah.
two, everyone has a story. Everyone has things that they can share with people, but people are afraid to share because they think they're not competent. And they
Yeah.
are competent. Everyone has skills that can help others. And just what Stephen was mentioning, I love it as far as a community. We're going to dive into that. You pivoting
Mm.
people about social media, that's powerful. I kind of share, you were talking about, it's like gamification. Like you
Yes.
want to
Yeah.
make it fun to show up every single day. And we're in the world of how to make that happen. That's the difficult part that people miss in communities, in having accountability for what they're doing in fitness and
Yeah.
in life. And then, man, Muay Thai. Tell
Yeah.
me about Muay Thai. That's more of is it a defense mechanism, but is it more defensive and not offensive, right?
It's a national sport of Thailand, actually. So it's actually sport fighting. So it's a bit more like orthodox boxing in terms of, you actually compete more for a sport than self-defense. But because of the nature of it, it's called the art of the eight limbs. And that being like inclusive of elbows and knees, it's quite a brutal sport. And so it actually lends itself quite naturally to self-defense. But no, my rationale to go into that, and it kind of, this will underpin the whole story of the Hardway Fitness. But basically, I kind of felt in my 20s I was very soft, very weak. I let myself get pretty badly overweight and in a bad place mentally. So I kept looking for things to kind of like, there was an expression I heard, iron sharpens iron. Yeah. So I was looking for iron to sharpen myself off. And I found this place in Dublin, Muay Thai Club, and the guys in there are like some semi-pros, some pro fighters. They were like hard iron, you know. So I went in and I was like, right, you know, this is it. I got to go in, just turn up every day, like you said about your video recording, take the beatings, you know, lose over and over and over again. And then eventually, you know, get to a point where you're good. And I did. My goal was to have a fight because it was something I was terrified of being topless in a ring. Forget the fight. Yeah. I was terrified of being topless in a ring, you know, because you're just in a pair of shorts, you know, and gloves. I was like, everyone's going to be looking at me. So I was like, right, well, if you can step in and fight a person and do this, like, you know, that's a huge evolution from, you know, the guy who wouldn't speak up in a crowd because he was too shy type thing. So the Muay Thai, yeah, that was like one of the things where I actually sought out at a point, found it, and kind of like managed to just kind of grit and get through that crappy first phase of nothing feels right. You feel like you suck and everyone keeps kicking your ass every time you go. Like, and you're the beginner, nobody wants to go near. Like, you know, it's the same with everything. It's like, it's just this recurrent theme. It's like the hard way is the only way. Like, there is no hacks, no shortcuts in life, in my opinion. Like, everything is like, you know, it's nice to think that there might be, and in some instances you might get a leg up, but there's no shortcut to get into that ring without going, you know, several times a week, getting your ass kicked and getting better and better. And then like when you actually get to the ring and you look back, you actually love that journey and that story. You're like, Jesus, I'm so proud of myself. Like, I actually did it. Whereas like when you're in that moment, you can't see it. You know, it's like, it's not there for you. You have to just go through it. It's a weird process and a thing, but I think you have to go through it. And that's like for anything, not just Muay Thai.
No, I love how you explain that. And yes, it's all about the journey, the process. Everyone wants easy. They want the quick fix. They in the health field, they want to take a needle to lose weight. If it took you like 10 years to gain 50, 100 pounds or plus, it's going to take you 5 to 10, whatever it was, 5 to 10 years. It's going to take you that much to get it off, if not sooner, with the right, you know, skill set, nutrition, being ability to move. So yes, you're gonna, and I like how you have the hard way fitness. Everything is hard until you figure things out. Then it gets easy, and then you got to challenge yourself again. You got to find something to challenge yourself. It gets boring.
Exactly, that's it. It's this, like, one of the principles we have is there's no status quo. So you're not going to get to a point where you're like, you know, the perfect version of Sean or Steven.
Right.
It doesn't exist. You're like, you just get better. And like, I explained to someone there I was bringing on board the other day, and I was like, what you do in this first month, right, is going to be totally different to what you do 12 months from now, but it's equally as important. And it's just context based. So you'll be better in 12 months and you'll be doing different things. But for this month, this is it. And you just got to focus on that and kind of get through it. And I was like, oh, will it not be kind of the same? And it's like, no, it's like in 12 months, this won't work. You know, this is a different key. You go through that door. There's a new door like you got to break down or figure out. So, and that's kind of there's a lot of, I would say, like mental barricades you smash with fitness with people. And it tends to lend itself to a lot of other things in their life. Like what I'll notice with people is after a couple of months of training, they'll be like, I'm looking for a new job. And I'm like, oh, really? Like, why is that? It's like, well, I realized that if I just kind of do this, or I'm only a course away from being there, and that will put me in a better position. So it's like they almost start to think, they realize, you know, that it's a process, and the steps you take, like now, like signing up or starting, leads to, like, in a year or two, you know, like, so let's just take example of school. Like, you sign up one day and you're like, all right, here we go, I'm going to take this free trial. And then a year or two later, when you've got like 100, 200 members, and you're thinking to yourself, like, wow, like I could have easily not taken that step. I could have just gone and had a different day that day. And that's the sort of thing with fitness. They realize it's like, Jesus, like, I am actually pretty much in control of my fate here. What if I took those principles and applied them to career, family, even finding a partner, things like that? It's like, there's so much that it lends itself to, but it's just that hard way, that smashing that wall every time, that people have to get used to. Because a lot of people think like it's 8 weeks and done, you know, it's like 8 weeks beach body. It's like, sorry, buddy, like, YouTube wouldn't have all these videos if it was 8 weeks beach body, you know. We'd all be
I'm glad you said that. There's a lot of people that think when they're buying a course, they're going into a fitness journey, and it
Yeah.
costs money. They're saying it costs me this. It's going to be
Yeah.
too expensive. It's not cost. It's not expensive. It's investing in you.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you need to invest, and you have to learn new things. You have to get mentorship, a coach. You need accountability,
Yep.
and having that. Also, I always tell people, free is great, and that's with going with the school. You have the free to before you. I have the 7 days, and you come in and make a decision, and you're going to
Yep.
invest in you. You have to make that decision because otherwise,
Hmm.
you're gonna. If you're not putting some skin in the game, you're not going to really put yourself on that. You're going to have pressure because you put money out.
Exactly.
And like Stephen was saying, you should be different in 12 months from now than compared to now. You're not using 5 pound dumbbells.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
beginning, you might be, but if you're still doing 5 pound dumbbells, you're not growing. And the goal
Yeah.
with whatever we're doing is to get to the next level. And
Exactly.
man, how do you feel? And I love that we're just around the New Year's and people have the resolutions. And I'm going to go to the gym, and the gyms love gyms, man. That's a good business to be in for January, February, I'm sure. You make
Yeah.
all your money because everyone is all about it and everyone hates it. For those that are committed, you have tons more people in there and you have to wait. What do you think as far as the in person versus the online? How did you transition about going that route?
Yeah, yeah, it's a good question. And there was a couple of factors behind it. My own, I always intended to be online. So I wanted to learn in person. So to master it in person, because I don't think you can fake that really. And the hilarious thing is like when you go through university, and you're looking at everything, you're basically kind of building your knowledge based on research that was done with athletes, right? So people who are like, really committed, really dedicated. And then you turn up to the gym and to train someone, and it's like a father or a mother of two who like has terrible calf issues, has never lifted a weight, doesn't even have has postural issues and everything. And it's kind of like you figure it out, that sort of way. So you can't learn that unless you've actually been in kind of the baptism of fire of the gym. So for me, it was actually a case of like Hardway Fitness started as like an ebook, if you can believe it, in 2012, because that was what people were doing at the time to kind of, kind of like expand out of day-to-day jobs and become self-employed. But what I did was I kind of went through a journey of losing a lot of weight and getting fit, and people around me saw it, and I had a big network of people where I worked, and slowly people started coming to me and kind of being like, "Hey, can you help me?" So I started doing programs and plans and going with them and doing a few sessions with them, setting them off basically. And it was very natural and easy. And I didn't realize it at the time, but I was like, when I look back in hindsight, I was like, that was kind of like, the indicator that this was the path. So with that, then after a few years of kind of that, and I was making good gains and helping, I started training teams of people and stuff. And I was like, I need to add a qualification here because I'm doing this. And like, it's like these people don't know that I've not been to university. They're just going on referral and recommendations. So
Right.
went to get the university qualifications and stuff. And really, all my university course was taught online, but the practical exams were in person. So it was very similar to what I was thinking for an online model. I was like,
Mhm.
if we can balance the two. So what I kind of figured out was that for personal training, the training aspect is probably 30 or 40% of it, right? Because there's many methods of training a person and different ways work with different people. It's very personal. And the principles are few, right? There's only a few principles of fitness, in terms of, like getting stronger, getting faster, getting better, you know, that sort of way. But the personal aspect of it is the most important. And that's why I think I was able to do so well without a qualification for so long, was because I was really good at that. It's like, going in, not discouraging people. Like, I'm scared of the barbell. It's like, okay, so the obstacle is the way. We're going to the squat rack. And the person with me be like, I don't go near the squat racks. That's where all the huge men are. And I'm like, come on, we're going over. Throw them into the squat rack. And I'm like, this is how you do it safely. This is where, like, this is how we attach and take the weights off and stuff. I was like, okay. And then I was like, so what you should do is you should contact a personal trainer now and say, teach me how to squat, right? And that's all you focus on. And they were like, oh, will you teach me? I was like, all right, fair enough. I'll teach as well. And that's kind of where it started, and bringing people out of that. So I learned very much in person and through the university course practically. But then on with COVID and stuff like that, keeping people accountable was the major part. A lot of them knew kind of how to train and what to do, but they lacked accountability and that kind of visual. So they would come to me and be like, how are you going to keep me accountable? and we figure out some goals. We figure out an approach. And like I had a call this week with a client, and she was like, oh, I hate doing that. I'm not doing that. And I was like, well, look, you're talking about getting to this point, and you're immediately blocking yourself off from the two things that will get you there because you're a bit afraid of them. So I'm going to push you into that little sphere of doubt and see where you go. And she was kind of like, oh my God. So she messaged me earlier today saying, I did it. I did the thing you said. I hated every second of it, but I'm very happy now. So this type of way. So you're kind of like, this way. So it was a natural evolution, back to your original question, Sean, from in person to online. I find with the online, it's great because I can have a huge outreach, and timing wise, it's very efficient. So if we go back to kind of brass tacks and making a career out of it, I can have a far greater span of influence, and I'm not limited by the hours in the day. So if I have a client and they all take an hour, I can have a maximum of 24 clients a day. With the online community, I could be training upwards of 300-400 people a day. So the scalability aspect there is huge as well. That's where Skool comes in as well, which is just, as you know, a powerhouse in terms of getting people on board.
It is amazing. And yes, I believe, the community is key. I like the online space because you're not trading your time for money anymore. Like you were just saying, your content is out there. Some people need to be handheld. Some people need to be in a community and they're engaging and they're doing their thing. There's others that have to be on a Zoom call so you could actually see them doing something to hold them more accountable. But it's the power of setting things up the right way and having others helping you. They can help you recruit, or in our promote, or everyone's like, I don't like to recruit, I don't like to promote. Well, you tell everybody what the favorite movie was. You like to tell people your favorite coffee shop. And they're not giving you any money. But if you were to get involved with an affiliate type of, that's why I love that model. Those people are now your salespeople, and they're telling they're going to get paid. You're getting paid as an owner, and it keeps everything moving. Inside the community, I like how you do a lot of things as far as everyone should have a daily check-in.
Yep.
That keeps people showing up. People don't show up, they get kind of discouraged. And talk about your 20-minute walk, your outside walk.
Yeah, this is one, like, this is I figured this out a long time ago, pretty much because of children, right? So our eldest didn't sleep very well, so we were constantly out walking in the pram to get him to sleep, right? And that worked well. He liked the motion, he fell asleep, right? But what I noticed was my wife and I ended up doing like 22,000 steps a day, right? Because of that. And we were both just dropping weight so fast, right? Which is one thing. But the big thing was mentally. It made us feel so much better from the stress of not sleeping with the baby, stress of work and all that sort of stuff. You'd come in after your walk and you'd be almost like your brain has kind of like something has kicked in an extra cog, and it's just processed that backlot wash and it's gone. And you're kind of like, that was a crap night, we didn't sleep, but let's just have a cup of tea, coffee, and chill out and whatnot. So the walk, I was kind of like, well, there's actually a lot of power in these. I started researching it, and it turns out, that walking is linked with increase in cognitive function, better digestion, better posture. You burn more calories. It's low impact, so you're not spiking cortisol. And if you're exercising, say, to gain muscle, cortisol is the enemy, right? Stress hormone reduces protein synthesis. So you really want to avoid that. And walking almost produces none. So I was like, hang on a second. So I started looking into kind of some of the pro coaches, and they're all like kind of agreeing with what I'm saying, going like, yes, walk. It's like, what's an easy walk? 20 minutes. I was like, that's like, it's a short time frame, but you can actually do quite a bit of steps in 20 minutes. So I was like, that's measurable. When to do it? And I was like, after dinner. So I tried it with a few clients, and they were all going, oh my God, like I come back from those walks and I'm grabbing a pen and pad for things I need to do. I'm thinking to myself like, I'm feeling positive and things. So I was like, wow. So the 20-minute walk was something I was like, right, I'm going to put that in, give it its own category. I'm going to video my feet when I'm walking and make videos and show everyone I'm walking and stuff, and then start calling people out. So like, if they're not walking, I'm messaging them going, hey, you okay? Can you get a walk in today? And they're like, yeah, I'll get a walk in. And then afterwards, they're like, oh, thanks for that. Like, I'm glad you reminded me. So, but it's a tiny thing. No gym, no equipment required, just a pair of shoes and clothes. And, huge impact on your life. You do that every day, 7 days a week for a few months, just watch things change. Like, it's such a small but powerful thing.
I thought of you. I'm in Steven's community, and I try to engage. I try to support anyone that's watching. Support those that you're around. If you support people first, things happen more for you. And
Hmm.
inside, I check in, I do my workouts. I'm used to doing that. I'm a phys ed teacher, and I like being active. And I had a time in my life when my daughter had a liver transplant, and there was a dark period of time when she was young, when she was born until she was 4 months old. I gained I had a shitload of weight. And I was a phys ed guy, but I was going through a lot of trauma, a lot of mental things. My wife and I shared that journey. We talked about it, did a lot of video, and I became a beach body coach. And I was doing at-home
P90X?
workouts, got into shape. I'm like, this is fantastic. And I like just having something to do. But on top of that, so I have my adjustable weights at home, my bench and everything. So I like being at home, but I like being around the kids because I think a
Yeah.
good mentorship. So those that are watching, if you have kids and you're overweight or you want to get yourself in shape, you can help your kids out because they're going to see what mommy and
Yeah.
daddy are doing. And yesterday, the weather in New Jersey, because I'm in New Jersey and Steven's in Ireland,
Yeah.
it's been cold. We have the winter now, and it's been cold. And we're like, I'm not going outside. It's like 30, 40 degrees. And yesterday was about 60. And I'm like, we're going outside because everyone was sick a couple weeks ago. Let's go
Yeah.
outside for a walk. The walks are the most fun thing to do with your family because everyone's talking
Yeah.
and they're sharing. They don't stop talking because you're learning about their day, which people don't even do with their kids anymore. And that's a shame. And 20 minutes goes like that. We were out, I don't even know how long we were out, 30, 40 minutes, and they enjoyed it. So I definitely applaud you for having that piece. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's one of those ones that like it is so small but so impactful. And actually, like some of our members who took it on actually came out to me a few days ago and were like, "Can we have a daily kind of mobility channel or category to the same effect?" And there's a few of us who are going to hold each other accountable. And my wife is one of those, and she was talking to me today, and she's like, "I haven't done my mobility yet. I need to do my mobility. Like, I need the time to do my mobility." And I'm just like, that's kind of a little bit of positive peer pressure as well from it too, because you log on and you see everyone doing it, and you're like, I need to get out and do that. And like, nothing wrong with that. And that's one of the things I think with social media is super powerful, like because you have that in your hands, that notification to say like, Sean has done his walk and a picture of you like this, and I'm like, God damn it, no, I have to do it.
Right. Without even you saying or doing anything, you're motivating, you're inspiring somebody else. Just one other person might see it. They're like, son of a bitch, Sean did it. He's got 4 kids, 3 young kids. If he could do it, I could do it. So yeah. And I always laugh. I always tell people, look, anytime you have a meeting, if it's a video, if you're in person, take a selfie with that person. Or if you're on a Zoom or if what we're doing, take a selfie. If you're watching us, guys, take a selfie or screenshot this and do a post and you are watching us, right? Mm-hmm. Because nothing happened unless we have record of it. So it's content, it's sharing. People are like, oh, that's personal, is it? No, I don't give a shit. I'm using this to help others as well. So the more we can put out there, instead of just saying, buy this from me or use my product or my service, let's help, give value, let's motivate and inspire. That's going to get us the people we want to work with.
Yeah, absolutely. Having a record of things is super important as well, because at some point you're going to like, you will, like we talked about earlier, progress. And it's like looking back at pictures of your kids when they're small. When you look back at yourself, say like your first video, your first post, your first anything, you're going to look back, like if you've kind of maintained it and be like, wow, like, I'm so proud of that guy or girl, like, mentally and to yourself. And that's a huge thing as well, because, we're very self-critical at the moment. A lot of people, I think, as well, like there's a lot of comparisons driven by social media. There's a lot of kind of like, external news and stuff that's depressing, and, we're all thinking in different ways. But if you actually have kind of like, that opportunity to give yourself a bit of a break and be like, I did it. I achieved it. Like it can be a small thing. Like I walked every day this week or stuff, but having like it on your school or having, like you said, a recording or a selfie of it, like there's nothing wrong with that. Like some people are really averse to taking selfies. They're like, no, like self-obsessed and stuff like no. Like, you look back at that when you're older and you'd be like, wow, like that was me on the walk the first time. And now I walk 10K every week. Like, and you're like, wow. So I encourage it. And that's what the positive thing about social media that I'm like keen on is that like you're over in New York, or Jersey, and I'm over here in Ireland, like, and we're no business knowing each other, and yet here we are, like, like, and it's great. Like,
it's amazing. Like we've met like probably 2 weeks ago or something, just before I think the New Year, We've
Yeah,
had
yeah,
phone calls. We connect. We message.
yeah,
We're doing this, and it's the power of school, and
yeah,
also just being online, but also being open to building a relationship.
yeah,
Everyone's all about, I need to make my money. I got to make a commission. I need to sell something. I don't need to sell anything to Steven because I could tell everything about what we're doing. He's going to lodge it inside his brain. If something pops up that I resonated with whoever he's talking with, they're going to, you got to talk to Sean. Vice
yeah,
versa. If I'm telling people, hey, I'm doing the 20-minute walk with Steven and his Hardway Fitness. You got to take a look at it. It's a link, blah, blah. It's not even, I'm not selling anything. I'm just sharing what I'm doing, and it's helping
yeah.
others as well.
Yeah. And what's interesting with that is, right, I'll give you two scenarios. If you share that walk on, say, any other social media, right, you'll get a very limited response. Like you might get a
Right.
few likes and things like that. If you share it on Skool, because Skool acts almost like a filter for people, like everyone who's in the group has to be invited. They have to be accepted. There's usually an intro. There tends to be kind of a system and a structure. So you post that in your community or somewhere like that, you're going to get tons of feedback and comments and positive things like that. And that's brilliant. And that's kind of like, that's what you want, but you're not selling anything. You're building it. You're building a community. And that can lead, obviously, because you can do things in Skool, like make them subscription. You can have programs and things for sale. You can lead yourself to, you're not force feeding it kind of in the AdSense way, or kind of like the promoted post way. It's totally natural. Like you get people in the community, they won't say anything to you for 6 weeks. Then they'll reach out to you and say, hey, look, I've been here kind of lurking. Like I'm in.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
No,
brilliant.
what Stephen was saying as far as social media, yeah, you can post something and everyone's all about swiping and going by.
Yeah.
That's the difference, is an algorithm. Things are force fed into your feed, literally.
Yeah.
But inside of Skool, you have to create, and that's the other issue. People don't like to make comments. Well,
Yeah.
Skool, you have to actually engage, because it actually plays off of the AI bots. Nope, there's no bots I haven't found inside the
Nope.
community. There's no bullshit happening. There are spammers. There are people that come in and they try to pitch their product and service, and that usually it's a bad. If you're watching, we usually kick you out. You give you a chance or two, might have a message with you, but you're going to get booted, and you're ruining
Yep.
your chance for more money. Just you're not providing any value.
Exactly. Like I'm even partnered with other fitness people in Skool, like other S&C coaches and personal trainers. Like there's no cannibalization here of clients or anything like that. We're literally sharing stuff, and it's as if there's enough to go around for everyone. Like you are your own brand. Nobody can take that away. There's no other Sean Ziem like who's going to be like, this is, I'm the better one, this type of way. There's
no other opportunity out there, man. Dude, like I told you, time flies with this, and you're going to see Steven again. You're going to see us with other people.
100%.
I want to make sure and remind everyone to reach out, have a connection call. All this contact information is inside the description. Get inside the community. We'll see you in there. We'll engage. We'll get you, moving, healthy, and definitely, I can't thank Steven enough for being able to give us that value today. And I know you gained some value. So share some comments as well. And don't forget to share this video or audio, whatever you're listening or watching us from. Steven, thanks again. Stick around for one moment. Everyone else, we hope you have an amazing rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone.